Okay. We'll definitely look forward to getting back home. I think we're looking forward to playing a great opponent in our stadium. That's ranked number 6 in the country, and undefeated, and playing very well right now. So it's going to be a great test for us, and I know we're going to have a lot of guys fired up to get to work this week and try to improve and get better, and see if we can go out there and figure out a way to win.
You played him down there last year and beat him, but he's really transformed the roster. When you watch them, how much different are they this year, especially with Ward at quarterback?
Well, that's the main difference. They've got a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate who's really good. He can throw it, he can move, he can buy time. He's got a great feel for the position. He gets it to their playmakers. He makes that offense go. You combine that with a lot of great talent on their team at all positions. Very good receivers, good running back core, strong offensive line. And then the defense is a solid defense with really, really talented players, a lot of positions. So, in order to win, you got to be good at all 3 segments, but definitely offense and defense tie together, and they have a legitimate, possible first-round draft pick at quarterback to go along with a very talented roster.
Jeff, what to you, speaking of Cam Ward, what to you is kind of the key to holding him in check, keeping him from delivering like he did in that Cal game?
Well, I think if you watch him, he's very poised. He understands football. He's got a great feel of standing there the last minute making throws. I think he throws his best when he's on the move, when he can buy time, and that's when the big plays are created because he's just so natural at doing it. So we've got to contain him in the pocket. We've got to make him throw from the pocket. We've got to guard as well as we can. We've got a pocket rush and make sure we push that towards him and not allow him to escape and buy a lot of extra time because he's very dangerous when he does that.
Jeff, what did you see as far as improvement the other day? You had a different offensive line and you made some stops defensively. What improvement did you like from your team?
Well, we did have some new pieces on the offensive line. I thought for the most part they played hard. There were a couple times we got exposed, but we found a way to overcome it. Had a couple key drops that a lot of good plays, but a couple of things we got to continue to shore up and try to be as perfect as we can. I think on defense we got better at some things we need to get better at. Is there still a ways to go? Yes, but we got better, and we've got to continue to push the envelope there and get as sharp and as crisp as we can, and make sure that we're making the offense beat us one-on-one, and we're not having miscommunication or misalignments or people thinking one thing and playing something else. Everything has to be on the same page, so we've got to continue to get that as sharp as we can.
Jeff, when Ward is buying time, what's the key in your secondary to holding up and not giving up the big plays when he does that?
Well, when he scrambles, of course, the first thing is going to look deep, and you've got to have a sense of staying behind your receiver, but not too far. You don't want to give too much cushion, but you want to make sure if someone turns up the field, you're there and you're able to respond. And then when you're in good position there, you've got to be able to anticipate a little bit as he's moving and be able to plaster receivers if you can, top down. But the key is to not allow him a lot of that extra time because he's very, very dangerous when he does it.
Yeah, was this Jelani's best game? Are you seeing him come along a little bit better than?
Well, this is the most he played. I know he played 60 to 70 snaps on defense. He plays hard, gives great effort, he has a good motor, gives great push. He made some plays. I think when if we can ever get a lead and make the offense do a few things they don't want to, that's when we will find a way to make more plays on that side of the ball. But I think he's done a great job doing his part. He's got to continue to work hard at it. We've got to be really good around him, and we've got to cover as well as we can to allow those guys just a little extra time to get in there to get those sacks and those tackles for loss. And then we've got to just continue to keep our rush lanes as much as we can and not rush past the quarterback and be very conscious of what the quarterback is doing. Is he stepping up? Is he trying to escape outside as we're trying to, to get to him?
Jeff, having Ron English come down from the box down to the sideline appears to have made a big jump forward in terms of the defensive efficiency, but what exactly in terms of the communication part was fixed or streamlined? Did you continue using the in-helmet comms? Did you go back to using some of the old way you used to do it, or was it a mix of both? How exactly did the communication get improved with English coming down there?
Well, we worked hard all last week, specifically to make sure that we had answers for everything that could come up. So getting the call in quick is important. Getting it in and getting it all communicated to all the right people as fast as we can is important. So the timing of that is critical. I think being on the sideline and having a feel as this team huddling or a lot of scrimmages look like they're going to snap the ball and trying to get things in as fast as we can, and then adjusting from there was very important. I thought the ability to see that and have a feel for that on the field was better than being upstairs. I think having a general pulse of the defense and what they need to hear and what emotions need to be displayed, being on the field, you can have a better feel there. So I thought that was beneficial. There's still some things we've got to get better at, but for the most part, I think we're moving in the right direction. We will be tested this week in all aspects of that, but we have to work harder this week because we got to improve at it.
Coach, you guys are going to be playing again for the Schnellenberger Trophy. Obviously, Coach meant a lot to both these programs, but specifically for you, what does that trophy mean for you?
Well, I think everyone knows Coach Schnellenberger played a great role in my career, and he played a great role in building this program. So we're all thankful for that. Him and Beverly are huge Louisville supporters, and I know Beverly still texts me every now and then, and we keep in contact. So, Coach knew how to build a championship team, and he knew how to overcome adversity, and he knew how to hang in there when the going got tough, and he never gave in. He never displayed a lack of hope. There was always optimism in his voice, and he knew that he could get it done, and he's proved it at every level. And it doesn't mean it always went smooth, but he knew how to hang in there and display the confidence throughout the team and the city that it's going to get done. So that's what you learn from him. A lot of great lessons. He was at both programs, did a great job. Took Miami to unprecedented heights too. So I know they're thankful for what he did. So this would be a great game, and for us, it's a great measuring stick to see where we're at. I like the fact that we played last week. We got a chance to find ways to get better, and we got a chance to see some other key areas that we need to continue to work hard to get better at. And we will be playing against a great opponent this week, and we will see exactly how we stack up and what more we need to do in order to improve.
Going off of that, Jeff, when you have two top 10 teams over the next 3 weeks, how important was that urgency in getting some of those things shored up a little bit?
Well, every week's important, and without question, we knew what the schedule was before the season, and I think a lot of the teams on that schedule that you and others didn't think would be at this level have all played well. So we've got a very challenging run of teams. To be quite honest with you, that's how college football works. We're fine with it. We're great with it. We understand it. And every week is going to be a battle. And it starts this week, and all you can do is think about one game from our end and figure out ways to how can we find a way to win, how can we take the field confident, and how can we try to minimize mistakes as we're doing that will be pivotal. And then, for us, win or lose, you got to come back to the drawing board the next week and do it again. And that's the challenging part. That from a team aspect, we got to make sure inside these walls that it's everything we got for 1 week. Let's lay it on the line, try to get it done. And when it's over, we'll try to do it again.
Jeff, over here. With Isaac Brown, was Saturday kind of like the game that you always knew he was capable of in terms of number of carries and just being able to handle that load? And where have you kind of seen that his development during the season?
Well, Isaac's done a great job for us from day one. He hasn't missed a rep of practice. He goes hard. He competes. He does everything we ask. He's very unselfish. He's a true freshman, so you don't want to overload him. We gave him a carries this past game. Obviously, he displayed his talent and playmaking ability. He was getting beat up and couldn't finish the game. So, you know, you gotta make sure that you're aware of how much someone can handle, and you gotta make sure that all personnel at every position are able to go and able to contribute. And you've gotta be very calculated in making sure that it's not all out for one game and not conscious of making sure we keep guys as healthy as we can. But with that said, you know, he needs to touch the ball a lot. We need to utilize his skills, and we need to make sure that that happens as much as we can get it to happen.
Coach, seems like penalties are one of the few things that are kind of holding you back on offense. What do you say to Chris Bell with 3 penalties last week? What's the conversation with him this week to cut that down?
Well, the one 15-yarder after the whistle, yes, that's happened before. It can't happen at all. And Chris is very emotional, and that has to be completely off. So none of that can happen. We had a blindside block that really, if you look at it, it's a good physical block. You know, the new rule is if he's not looking at you, you I guess can't hit him in that manner. It was a questionable block, so we've got to readdress that and make sure, you know, that the person is looking at us. If we want to be physical, if not, we're just going to have to use our hands and not our shoulders and our full strength. So that one, we'll take the blame for that because he made a physical block on a guy who was stepping down and really was someone in front of him, but he just wasn't looking at him. And then we've had some, you know, some kind of silly false starts where we've moved before the ball snaps. Sometimes on the road it happens. We've had some costly false starts and holdings at the offensive line, which will occasionally happen, but you got to try to minimize it. I think in general we've been one of the least frequent or minimized penalty teams around, but you know, we got to be better at it. I just think anytime you have those mistakes, yes, we need to clean them up as much as we can. We had, I think, 2 personal foul calls that went against us, which were correct calls, and we can't do it. So we can't have any of those. 0 of those. It has to be between the whistles, legal. I think we all understand that. We can't allow our emotions to overcome that no matter what the score is, so we got to talk about it and make sure it doesn't happen.
Last 2.
Coach Jamari Johnson, obviously the tight ends seemed like they got a little bit more involved as things got a little bit more important late in the game, and Jamari with a couple big catches. Can you talk about how he's continuing to progress and the importance he's going to play in this offense?
Well, he has a lot of potential and a lot of talent. We like what he's done. You know, those positions are very important to us. As we analyze ways to get him the ball, we've been better when we design ways to get them open than when they've had to get open on their own with a normal play. And that's just the facts, and that's so we've got to be conscious of making sure that we continue to find more ways to have some misdirection and play action to allow them some space to get open instead of allowing defenders to get their hands on them in some drop back pass situations. So that's all planning that we have to do. The catches they had last week were designed to kind of help get them open. It did, and they did a really good job. So we've got to continue to build on that and make sure that the tight ends get their touches.
With Maurice Turner, was he expected to be back this week, and if not, what's his timetable for return?
We're going to try to get him back on the practice field this week, and we'll see where it's at. I'm not, I couldn't tell you at this point. We'll have to see where that's at. He hasn't practiced yet to this date.